The news you can count on. Mayport to Ponte Vedra Beach. The Island Times News Update begins right now. Here's Tom Patton.
Welcome to the Island Times News Update. I'm Tom Patton. The Jacksonville Beach Festival's policy was the subject of a workshop meeting held Wednesday night at Jacksonville City Hall. And while there was agreement among members of the council on many of the issues concerning festivals, there was also some contention about whether or not they are good for local businesses. City Manager George Forbes distributed a draft of some proposed changes in the festival's policy to the council. Currently, a festival is an event that lasts for longer than 6 hours and may include alcohol sales. Shorter events are considered special events and will be discussed at a later time. Forbes said one of the primary reasons for revisiting the policy was to remove any appearance of conflict of interest in the promotion of festivals. The proposed policy would preclude any elected or appointed official from promoting or receiving a financial benefit from such an event. Following an independent investigation conducted last year, both Councilman Keith Doherty and Phil Vogelsang have removed themselves from any connection with the festivals they have produced in the past. The changes proposed by Forbes would classify any event lasting more than 4 hours a festival and would limit those events to 18 hours. Festivals would also be limited to 2 days between October and February and 1 day during the warmer months. The exceptions to those rules would be 2 long-standing events, the Sea and Sky Spectacular in the fall and Spring in the Blues in April. Councilman Phil Vogelsang said that restricting festivals to 2 days in the winter is too limiting for promoters.
How much of an investment are people going to be willing to put into months when the weather's questionable, especially from a warmth perspective? How much money are they able to invest in order to have those events with just 2 days? Because one, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of time, and it's a lot of money. And I think 2 days, you really restrict one's motivation to have an event here during the off-season.
Vogelsang went on to say that one of the primary reasons to have such events during the winter is to bring people to the beach who will support local businesses, and that any business could show an increase in receipts on weekends when festivals are held. Local hotels are also booked to capacity, he said. But Mayor Charlie Latham said that he has heard from local business owners that festivals cost them customers because the festival goers are isolated from the rest of the central business district and people don't come into a local shop or restaurant until late in the evening after they may have consumed a lot of alcohol. He went on to say that he thinks 2 days is long enough for any festival.
I don't see why we should make our motivation for producers should be to make money. I mean, it should be set up so that it's for our public. I know we've got to deal with the 50% thing, but that's something that we've all felt pretty strongly about, is that we need to keep half the area open, free for the public. If producers want to put a 50% paid area in to try and recoup some of their expenses, I can understand that.
Vogelsang said that both local residents and people from other areas enjoy the festivals. He said that perhaps there could be a way to incorporate local businesses more into the festival area. On the issue of alcohol sales, the proposed policy would require festival producers and applicants for temporary liquor licenses to show articles of incorporation and a recent IRS Form 990 with their application. It would also prevent liquor licenses from being loaned or rented from a third party. Forbes also said there has been an issue with some producers, not only of festivals but smaller special events, not paying required fees on time. And many of the smaller event organizers think the city is running the events, which Forbes was adamant they do not do. The council at a previous meeting had raised the possibility of requiring council approval for all festivals, but Forbes cautioned that that level of scrutiny was probably not necessary. The council could, if they wished, approve a tentative schedule of festivals so that they are not caught by surprise by an event, and allow the city staff to work out all the details. No votes were taken at the meeting, which was designed to give the city staff additional guidance in crafting the final policy, which must be approved by the council. Well, when we come back, dogs are still only allowed on Neptune Beach during certain times of the day. This is the Island Times News Update.
The news you can count on. The Island Times News Update will be right back.
Beaches Academy Child Care Center in Jacksonville Beach has been offering affordable, loving child care to families in the Beaches communities for 35 years. Conveniently located on Penman Road, Beaches Academy offers care for children from infants through preschool, with programs that encourage learning and outdoor play. Our affordable tuition means families can get quality child care at a price that fits their budget. Contact Beaches Academy at 246-3885 and schedule a tour of our center. Beaches Academy, the child always comes first. Charlie's Tropic Heating and Air Conditioning in Atlantic Beach offers a full range of residential and commercial heating and air conditioning services, from new installation to replacement and remodeling. Charlie's Tropic Heating and Air Conditioning can keep your home comfortable year-round, and they offer preventive maintenance contracts to keep your system running at peak efficiency. Charlie's Tropic Heating and Air Conditioning is an authorized Bryant dealer and will service all brands. For year-round comfort in your home or business, contact the original Charlie's Tropic Heating and Air Conditioning at 241-1788.
Welcome back to the Island Times News Update. I'm Tom Patton. The Neptune Beach City Council has given final approval to its new animal control ordinance, but will revisit portions of the law at a later time. The council has worked through a good deal of the ordinance over the past several weeks and has found consensus on many of the issues. But the council remains divided on when to allow dogs on the beach. The ordinance as it was written would allow dogs on the beach at all times, rather than only between the hours of 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. during daylight savings time, and 4 p.m. and 10 a.m. during months when standard time is observed. The proposed ordinance would have also required dogs to be on a 12-foot leash rather than a 16-foot leash, which is currently allowed. Atlantic Beach allows leash dogs on the beach at all times. Councilman John Jolly recommended that the ordinance be tabled to allow for another workshop to hammer out when to allow dogs on the beach, and to discuss some recommendations made to the council by the American Kennel Club. But the rest of the council wanted to move forward with the legislation with some additional modifications. Councilman Scott Wiley has been a strong proponent of restricting the hours when dogs would be allowed on the beach, and proposed an amendment that would keep the hours the same as they are now. His amendment died for lack of a second. Mayor Elaine Brown then proposed nearly the same amendment, but with a promise to revisit the specific issue of dogs on the beach within 90 days.
It requires some study to really say what we're going to do and how we're going to do it and how we're going to enforce it. And the enforcement of it and making sure that we're doing the best we can to enforce it is probably the biggest deal. So I would like to propose that we pass the amendment. We've had a lot of chances to look at it and then leave out any change of the hours, move forward and add a date certain, which we could determine tonight or at the next meeting, that we go ahead and have another town hall meeting and we let people know that we are going to be looking at changing the hours.
The ordinance gained final approval without the language that would allow dogs on the beach at all times, and leaves the leash length at 16 feet. The council will revisit that section of the ordinance within the next 3 months. Among the changes in the new animal control ordinance is a section that makes it a second-degree misdemeanor to misrepresent a dog as a service dog if it is not properly trained as such. That portion of the ordinance was written by Councilman Rory Diamond, who works every day with service dogs trained to assist retired members of the military suffering from PTSD through Canines for Warriors.
And say that fake service dogs are a problem for those who have disabilities and need the benefits of a service dog. For so many people who have service dogs, their disabilities are visual. You can see them. A blind person has a service dog, no one questions that person. However, someone with an invisible injury, like those graduates of Canines for Warriors who don't have visible injuries, they're harassed all the time. And the issue is this proliferation of fake service dogs. It's driving everybody crazy, except for the people who are breaking the rules.
Diamond says he hopes that the legislation in Neptune Beach can be the beginning of a nationwide movement to stop the proliferation of fake service dogs. The provision passed as part of the larger bill. At the recommendation of City Attorney Patrick Kwiatkowski, Neptune Beach will take a little longer to finalize an ordinance to modify its police pension plan, and any changes would not go into effect until after September of 2018. Kwiatkowski recommended that the proposed ordinance, which was set for final passage, be moved back to first reading because of major changes that were made in the ordinance since it was passed last month.
The reason for the changes is because we took a closer look at the contract with the
city attorney said that some of the language in the proposed ordinance changed the pension benefits, so it was rewritten and taken back for a vote on initial passage. The city must still, under state law, establish share funds for the distribution of insurance premium taxes next month, so the council will hold a special called meeting on February 20th for final approval. The share fund accounts can then be established to comply with the law, but they cannot be funded until after the next round of collective bargaining. The Atlantic Beach Commission will have the first public discussion of the position description for city manager at its upcoming meeting Monday night. Interim City Manager Kevin Hogenkamp and Atlantic Beach Human Resources Director Kathy Berry have solicited input from the Commission, as well as former commissioners, department heads, and several residents concerning the qualifications for the city manager. The city is seeking a candidate with at least a bachelor's degree, preferably in public administration or a directly related field, from an accredited college. A master's degree in public administration or a directly related field is preferred. The successful candidate will have not less than 5 years of experience as a city, municipal, county, or state government administrator in at least a chief or assistant chief administrative capacity. At the time of the appointment, the new city manager need not be a resident of Atlantic Beach, but must be within 6 months.
The news you can count on. Mayport to Ponte Vedra Beach, forecasting your beaches. This is your local look weather.
The National Weather Service says we can expect sunny skies through the weekend and into the first part of next week. Highs will be in the 70s and lows will drop into the mid-60s. The next chance of showers is not until Tuesday, and then it's only a 20% chance of rain. High temperatures will fall back into the 60s by the end of the week. The Island Times is always digital, always free at theislandtimes.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter to be the first to know about stories posted on the Island Times. I'm Tom Patton. Thanks for watching.